like, yeah, the masterminds of it, bouncing ideas and what you've gone through.
Well, I'm trying to get the Zoom up, but the mouse is like disconnected from everything. So
Great. Really good.
yeah. Got it. I'm not seeing any cursor, so
Yeah.
I need to go find our Jason.
This is Kelly. Hey. Cool. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You too. Bye. Morning. Hi. Hi. I'm Denise. Nice to meet you. I'm Kelly. Nice to meet you, Kelly. $29. Disgusting. Not ready yet. I love it.
Are you new to the office or have I just not?
Yes, I'm new to the office. I started last Monday, so I've been here for a week. The operations manager for HHG. Yeah. Mhm. Well, welcome. Thank you. I'm excited. Yeah.
I mean, I see the little dongle thing even here, but
Oh, you're good. Oh, like where and where
I'm gonna be going there.
Were you in real estate prior?
Yeah, 10 years I've been in. Yeah, so I worked in the KW uptown for a team for 4 years, and then I worked with the George
There it is.
for 5 years prior to that.
Got it.
Yeah,
You know what's going on.
yeah,
to get hold of who's.
yeah. How long you been in the industry?
I don't know,
I
but all that stuff was up there, so I
yeah,
kind of organized it a little bit.
Yeah, you started at a good time. It wasn't crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, but it was like,
Replace this
Good.
one.
yeah.
right.
I had a lot of agents who started like, that 2020 and it was just nuts. And I'm like, this is not normal. This is not going to be your life.
Hey, by the way, most people don't ask stuff like that. That's the answer because they're not in here all the time.
Okay. Well, thank you for your patience. There's an echo. Excellent. Brendan, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Oh, we've got a small group today. I think everybody's got a lot of things going on, and maybe there's a little bit of snowmageddon stuff.
Yeah.
Braden, where are you at?
Southwest corner in Marshall.
Did you guys get any snow?
Saturday, but it's all gone. I mean, it didn't even cover, so.
Yeah, we just got a lot of, what, 1 to 3 inches?
Yeah, it's about 2 inches.
Yeah, a lot of ice and
Yeah.
loveliness. And of course, it's overnight, so the morning commute is a disaster.
Everybody's testing their driving skills, that's all.
Right, that's what we like to say. Well, thanks everyone for coming, and I'd like to welcome Denise.
Hello.
She is the new, what is your title?
Operations manager.
Operations manager for HHG. I'll let you talk about your experience
No
and
worries.
everything.
Yeah, operations manager for HHG. I've been in the industry for almost 10 years. I was the DO for a team for about 4, almost 5 years, and then the listing manager for another team as well for about 5 years. So, yeah, excited to be here. I was just saying, like, I appreciate kind of getting the minds together because I think we all have really great tools or ways, and it's nice to be able to share that.
Yeah, it's very helpful to see different ways of doing things. And there's always something that it can be improved, some little tidbit or nugget of information that you need to pass on to sellers or
Yeah.
buyers that you're like,
I didn't even think of that.
why
Yeah.
didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
It's like,
No.
duh, I should have had that.
Yeah.
Or easier way of doing things, which is always fantastic.
Yes, definitely.
So today's topic is about templates, as well as preparing for preparing for the next year. Obviously, next year's gonna be right around the corner since November is next month. And I'm glad people brought this up in the poll to be like, what things do you do to prepare for the next year? I was like, I thought that was a great idea for a checklist of something of some sort for people to do, because I was just starting to do that with some of my things. So it's like, hey, all right, let's put something down and be able to hand it out. I also have a bunch of templates, whether it's email checklists or conversations to have that I got from my teapot class that I can share with everybody. It's related to the listing manager, transaction coordinator, and the director of operations titles, because those were the 3 titles that was focused on in that class. But I think there's a lot of good information, a lot of things that I took away. I was like, oh, done. I should have that in there, or I should, oh, that'd be a better way of putting it in an email so it's more concise and a little bit easier to read. So I'll be sharing with that along with other things as well. So, and then I think we'll be doing another poll coming out to talk about what we want to do for our holiday party in December. We are not going to be doing a Thanksgiving one because it's right after Thanksgiving. People are going to be off for a couple of days. Monday is going to be a nightmare. Tuesday will be a normal Monday. So we'll just skip November and then go straight to the fun part in December. And that is going to be December 20th. It is a Wednesday. It'll be up in the 3rd floor conference room. I've got that reserved already. Normal time, 10 to 11. Also send out a poll for different brunch things if you want to bring. So I think everybody, from what was voted, it was pretty unanimous that people wanted the 10 to 11 brunch stuff. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Brunch is best.
And then we'll talk about doing waffle or pancake bar. And then I'll have, sign up for the different things, toppings and whatnot. So, all right, let's get started. Kelly, how about you go with, what do you guys do for templates? How do you have templates? Do you use them? And what software, how do you implement or how?
Manage them.
Yeah, manage them, thank you.
For us, we do templates. I have them all saved. I just use the embedded piece in Google. We used to use Street. I think that's still on my computer, but I don't know if it's just templates or Street anymore. But regardless, they're the same idea, right? And I would say as much as I love systems and standardization, I probably have everyone. So we do use them, but one of our things that we focus on is personal attention, and so they definitely get edited. And then right now, I will set them up to go when they're scheduled to go out, so that either I don't have to worry about it, or I'm gonna go on maternity leave, so that they're just ready to go. Yeah. So we have, so I try to use standard verbiage. The idea, much like a purchase agreement template, is that everybody's getting the same messages. We're not, forgetting to send a message about something, or a conversation was skipped over. And so they're getting sort of that templated response for sure when they accept an offer, either as a seller or when they have an accepted offer as a buyer. And then I work backwards from closing, so it's a couple days to closing, then 1 week, 2 weeks. And I don't think I have a 3-week one anymore. We used to have a 3-week version that was about like reviewing us and are we doing great customer service and that sort of thing, and I've moved that to after closing. And then after closing day, they have one, and then a week after closing, they have another sort of standardized email. That's coming from the team, not the agent. I don't think the agents really use templates in the communication at all. So that is kind of our process. For listings, there are a few more, right? Like when we are scheduling photos or scheduling a stager to go out, or when they're on the MLS, those I have templates for. Those are more so just like easy. It's not so much as like I'm worried about a message being forgotten. It's just more so like, yep, you're on the MLS, blah, blah, blah. Whereas like the 2-week, 1 weeks, it's like, okay, did I tell those people to patch and paint? And for me, it's easy to be able to say like, well, it's for sure in the 2-week email, even though I may have not said it when I talked to them. So, although we are, I don't want to say old school, but maybe, I call all of our clients once a week and like chat through.
Nice. That's not old school, that's good customer service.
Yeah. So a lot of it gets talked through, but like if our conversation goes off on a tangent, I can be sure that, those like pivotal things are sort of touched on in the emails.
Do you have like a template or a conversation of what you would say during those calls? Like what you, like talking points essentially?
Yeah. Depends on where they're at in the transaction. So like, it's always what's up next, right? Like, I usually wait till they're through inspection to call because the agent's just talking to them so much that like that gets overwhelming. So then, if they get through, then that next week I'm calling and saying like, hey, congrats, you got through, that's great. I'll be collecting receipts or blah, blah, blah. The next steps are to work with your lender on the appraisal. If it's a seller, then like explaining, you'll get the showing time, request for that.
Give a way of tracking when you've done all these things, or like knowing, or you're just like, nah, look at my emails?
I mean, I have a spreadsheet that I use pretty meticulously. And then I put like, when I open up a file, I still like put the dates on my calendar of like, okay, we're 2 weeks out for this closing and that closing. Which, our team is small enough that it's manageable to do it manually, but I think open to close would be the option if we were to grow. That's the one that I know have researched of like, okay, this is where we're going next. But for now, like it's easy enough for me to throw it out there, and I've done it for how many years that I'm used to it.
Second nature.
Yeah,
It's pretty routine at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
It's when you're not there, you're going, oh God.
Yes, right. That someone else has to remember.
Yeah.
So anyways, I think that help. What else did you want to know?
So you said you have it on your spreadsheet and then you put it in your calendar. Do you just put like a calendar reminder, hey?
They're always like the first morning, so I work early because I go and get my kids from school, so I'm usually here by 7:30, but my team doesn't show up till like 9 or 9:30.
It's so nice.
And so like it's the first block, right? Like so and so has a 2 week to closing reminder, so and so's commitment letters to like it's that time period where I'm just like busting out transaction type stuff, and then I can work on everything else that the agents bring to me.
Yeah.
Once they arrive, and once like we start for the day. So, yeah, I think I try, I think especially, listings and once you're pending, like so much of the overwhelmedness can be mitigated by just setting up expectations and answering their questions before they get there. And so I really believe in like trying to hit it at the right point. So
You have to worry until that we get to that spot, and then I'll let you know kind of thing.
yeah. So I mean, when they accept an offer, they get like a one sheet with like the whole process, but really try to like break
That
it
seems
down.
overwhelming, yeah.
It's very overwhelming and some people just like won't engage them.
And some people love it.
And some people really like it. Like my personality would be like, perfect,
Yep,
great,
now
I got
know.
it.
Yeah,
But you
Yeah.
know, not everybody is
Yeah.
the same.
that's finding that balance.
Right, so I try to like break it down into very manageable pieces for them, of just,
Not too many emails, not too many texts, not too many people reaching out in different areas.
yeah, and that like touch base call. You know, sometimes it's literally like, we have one that's been under contract since September 7th, like it's just normal transaction, they just needed a borrow, close it, and it literally is like, hey guys, I hope you're having a great weekend or a great week.
Yeah.
You know, there's not any action items for you this week, coming up, we'll be doing X, Y, and Z. Just wanted to make sure you don't have questions.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a 30-second deal. But, you know, then when they do say like, well, what about utilities a month out?
Yeah,
You can
you're
say
like-
like, yep, about 2 weeks, I'll tell you to do that, you know, but like they're very used to like me prompting them.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's not a freak out like they forgot it.
Yeah.
It's much more like, I think you said we'll do this at some point.
Yeah.
can't
I think I
remember when.
recall you saying something about
Yeah,
this.
right.
And you're like, yes, not now.
Yeah, right, like,
I promise I'll get you that.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yep. Yeah, because you don't want them overwhelmed with stuff they don't have to worry about right now.
yeah, right.
Yeah, especially when a utility company is gonna say,
Yeah.
we were, give me a call in like a week or, you know,
Week before
a week before
closing,
closing or
yeah.
a day before closing,
Yeah.
and they're like,
Yeah. Great.
So anyways, that's sort of our philosophy
How
on
many
it.
people are your team? Agent size?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Very nice.
Yes. So
and Brayden, what does your team do? Same questions, text, templates, conversations, how to
Okay,
manage?
so first off, I can't see anything. Secondly, whoever was just speaking, how do you get your agents to follow your procedures? Because I will be totally honest, I have all of my procedures, but we have agents who don't come into the office because they're 20, 40 miles away. And I feel like I like fly by the seat of my pants when she's like, I have a closing next week. And I'm like, on what? Like, you never told me anything about this.
well, for the most part, all they have to do is send me a purchase agreement after they get it accepted. And then from there, they're all my procedures. Anything that the agent does after a pending, after a purchase agreement goes pending is extra, in my opinion, right? Like they're mine. I'm owning that whole process besides negotiating like an inspection. But I'm also like communicating with the agent around those timelines. I'm putting it on their calendar. I'm scheduling the inspection in most cases, if not having the conversation with the client to schedule it and doing it within a timeline that I would deem appropriate. So really, like from a pending perspective, like all they have to do is send me the purchase agreement. And then from there, it's all my stuff, yeah. And if they are, of course, they're gonna talk to their people, and that's fine, you know, like, you know, but sometimes they don't. Like, we have an investor client who we've done how many transactions with, and she calls me, and that's what she should be doing at this point. You know, she's comfortable at that point. So like it's not that I'm trying to have them implement my procedures around it. I'm just taking ownership over it for all these things that I want to happen in this pending status. So, and if I really want them in the loop, I'll copy them on an email, but I don't even really copy them.
Yeah.
So I know Karina always copies her agents, but I don't do that all the time, except maybe like planning the final walkthrough. I will
Or
copy them.
something weird is going on.
Yeah, right. If there at any point is like a discussion needs to happen with the other agent and it's not like sort of a transactional piece, then I'm pulling them into loop and saying like, hey, FYI, I'm gonna ask this, or I need you to ask this, or, you know.
Hey, this came up on title search.
Right, like this, yeah, or like our title company, their net proceeds are really different than what we told them when they accepted the offer. Like, I want you to be prepared for that conversation.
Did they know that there's a past due water bill of?
Right, or a second mortgage or something, like those, yes, I'm pulling the agent in on, but you know, all the normal things,
Along the highway.
the agent's not even
Yeah.
involved.
Sorry, my sign guy just walked in.
You're
No worries.
totally fine. Just
Um,
anything afterwards.
yeah, you can ask Jana. I would take zip ties because they don't line up though. Not following.
No.
Jana should be back. I ran down there, they don't match.
So for our team,
Highway.
I use a lot of email templates. I have templates for when they've signed listing and buyer paperwork of what their next steps are.
How do you handle these first? Do you do them like Gmail? Do you do them through open close? Do you
Gmail.
Gmail?
I'd love to get into open to close, but we're not big enough yet for
Yeah.
that. I've worked a little bit in the system.
Yeah.
But it was more like just a trial base and I loved it, but we're not big enough to warrant
How many
the,
agents? I'm sorry.
we have two, so Chad, the rainmaker, and then Ryan, our buyer's agent.
Yeah. Okay.
Do through Google,
Yeah.
or I have the templates on a Word doc.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times I just pull it in there. I haven't migrated over yet to the templates in Google. I have some over there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know why.
Yeah. It's one of those
You should
end of year
just do
things.
it.
It's one of those
I know.
end of year things, but you have to just put on your list because they update too, the templates. But I was the same way with you. I'm like, why am I not putting these in my templates?
I know, because I'm always changing, because
Yeah.
the Word doc has different indentation
Yeah.
and
I know.
lines and stuff like that. And it's like, I always end up changing that in the Google templates. Like,
We'll get there.
exactly. But I keep all of mine in a Word doc, and I have templates from the agents send me, they tee me up for an email when they are going on an appointment. I send out pre-listing documents about our team. I send these digitally, and then the agent will bring it in paper copy when they go and meet with them. I have it for when they're doing the paperwork signing, after they've signed. I have it for when they're coming soon, when pictures are in, when they've gone active. Chad does have a template that he uses for when offers come in, for our sellers, so he'll have a purchase, these are the, a summary of the offer, so that they can kind of see that, and then he calls them to go over it. I have it for, congratulations, you accepted an offer, after inspection, after appraisal, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week. And I need to get better with doing like a couple of days before in terms of, final numbers are gonna be coming from title, any final steps, but usually
Title's got that though too,
Yeah.
they're being constant. Yeah, it's hard to know that balance.
it's that fine line between, when do they get the, is it 2 days before closing that you say, well, get your cashier's check, blah, 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 well, what if they close on a Monday, you can't send that out on a Saturday.
Yeah.
It's like, so I've kind of been wishy-washy on that, writing between there, but usually I'm already contacting them. I text a lot of my clients. I will call them. Calling is not my strong suit. Texting is, but they know that they can call me anytime. They can text me. Pretty responsive on both text and emails. So I have a text set up in my phone so that I can introduce people to our stager as well as our pre-listing inspector. For our listings, we try to get all of our listings pre-inspected. It just makes things a lot easier. Yeah, I use them all the time. And I'm just like Kelly said, you're changing them. As much as you want them to be all the same, there's little nuances in every single one that you're like, gotta do this, gotta do that. So
You get usually the meat and potatoes of the email though, so you don't have to rewrite it every time.
yeah, you get some of the basics and then you have to throw in the little personal relevant information, so.
Good not to be a robot.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's pretty much what we do. Brayden, do you wanna, does your sign guy leave?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't realize I was the only one in the office. So Kelly, the reason I asked like when you, like how you know when transactions are ready, because I have to implement a better system now that I have like, I think I have 7 of my own active clients and God knows how many others the 4 on my team have. Because I feel like right now it's just, hey, my file's ready to go with the address in an email to me. And then I have to go check transaction desk and I do the audit process and I do like everything else like for the team. So it's just kind of a lot right now. And I actually have a meeting, perfect timing for this call with Jana later to talk about this because they'll send it to me once it's signed, but then inspection changes things. So I like that yours is sent to you once it's pending.
It's sent as soon as it's signed, because I probably said it wrong. Because then, if they have changes from the inspection, then I'm tracking that and getting in the amendment. Yeah, I mean, I don't buy or sell, I don't actively, so you're in a unique situation where you are managing both systems, so, yeah, no, I mean, besides inspection negotiations, the agents really like hand it off and let me, take it from there. And in fact, like, they usually call their people and say like, congrats, you got the house. They don't do anything more than that, They say, Kelly, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Do you have them CC you in on Authentisign, so like when signings are completed?
You don't want that though.
I don't. I from yesterday have over 100 emails. I don't want CC.
What's your biggest like hold up on just because you said after inspection, is that where you're like, oh, stuff has changed and they're not letting you know what's going on with the inspection?
So our agents hold sole conversation with their buyer/seller. I can't take over like Kelly said she does because I
don't know what your processes are.
Yeah, there's 4 agents plus I have my own.
Yeah, you're a hybrid.
Buyer seller, so it makes it kind of difficult. With that being said, once it goes pending, I get an email. Because after that point, then typically all of like the changes and like negotiations are done post inspection. And then that's when I go in and do my transaction desk audit and then fill everything into command.
Yeah.
But like today, I was unaware that we had a double closing because it's not on my calendar because when the agent scheduled it, they didn't put it there. So it's like, that's in the beginning, I was totally frantic trying to get command updated so that they can get paid out.
How do you guys track your units and like all your volume and all that?
That's beyond me. I track my personal units, but the team units are tracked through Jana.
That's hard too.
Who's the team units. So,
Yeah, you're in it's a tough hybrid position.
Yeah. It's like, you know, but not know, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, that's even worse, I'd be like, just let me know everything.
Yeah, and so with Mikey being distanced from us, she's rarely in office. She'll come in every once in a while for team meetings, but otherwise it's just like solely emails, hinting my 100 emails that I have. And Ashley just stepped back from being full-time because she took a different full-time position. So we're also working through she needs me to do a lot more than I used to do.
Do you guys have like a team meeting where you could be like, I need to know like what's coming up and here's what I have. Is this right? Do you guys have anything that I don't know of?
Yeah, so Jana and I are sitting down later today to be like, this is the processes that I need if I'm expected to complete X, Y, and Z prior to closing. And then that'll be discussed on Thursday when we have our team meeting. But yeah, so with me partially not like fully stepping back, I'm still full-time like admin and stuff, but going more like licensed agent with my 5 under contracts right now, there's been a weird shift.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Wondering if, and I know your agents are probably gonna hate this, but I mean, is there a Google form or some sort of form that they can fill out to give you like the meat and potatoes kind of a thing of, hey, it's this address, these buyers, closing date, written finance.
Look at her face, she's like, they're not gonna fill that out.
Just, I've done that, but
Yeah,
I will tell you, my team lead is the hardest one to get
yeah.
Well, right.
run stuff on there. And being that's also my mother makes it very challenging.
Yeah, I think the best would be just, like I said,
Oh.
when you guys meet as a team, what do you guys have? Because here's what I have, is this right? I mean, I think that would be the easiest way to get to it, and then when you guys get in that maybe habit, you can start developing out systems that will work for your team specifically.
I think also, like, for me, a lot of the closing stuff is triggered by, I know the appraisal is done. So if there's a way for the agents to start pinging you, obviously they have to, you know, let somebody know it's pending, you know, at inspection time. But for me, as soon as the appraisal is good, then I do commissions tab, I submit the file, I work on closing with the title companies, you know, because at that point, all negotiations are done,
Mhm.
right? Like nothing is changing, maybe a close date. But I think that might be an important step, that it doesn't sound like you're getting that communication. Like if you want to bring that up to Jana and say like, hey, I really need to be notified of this, because then that usually gives you a couple weeks, right? To
go
like
to the next.
do on your own time when you can, the commissions stuff, all the documents in command, and you know, you're not like under the gun, sort of, like you were this morning of like, holy crap, I didn't know that this was happening and they need to be paid, and you know, like it happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
But like if you are triggered somehow that the appraisal's back,
Or
then
if it's not back, like what's wrong, what's going on?
yeah, like you can start sort of, like when I first started, I only did commissions input on Tuesdays. Like that was just like a quieter day. Agents weren't in the office, and so I knew like I could work on those every Tuesday, and then like so anyone who had completed their appraisal the week prior would then get submitted on Tuesday.
Can I ask you a question with your appraisals? Do you
Yeah.
have it automatically like prompt you like in 3 weeks from the final acceptance date, like check on appraisal? Because if the agents don't let you know.
Yeah, so because I'm a control freak, I own that communication with the lender, right? So after inspection is complete, I let them know.
Got it.
And then I ask them. And when I first started, I felt like they were always like, it's a black hole once you order the appraisal. And it's not.
No, it's
they
not.
know when it's
Yeah.
gonna be back.
Yeah.
And so I just ask for that, and then I put it on my calendar like a normal task.
Right.
And then I follow up.
For her situation though, where
Yes.
she's not involved, how many
Right.
weeks would you go, okay, I should reach out by this time if they
Yeah,
haven't let
so
me
I
know?
would do 21 days. Right,
21 days from the final acceptance date.
yeah.
I would agree with that.
Well, we have most of our properties closing in between 17 and 25 days from final acceptance date right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. We are so significantly different from you guys in the aspect of literally.
If your inspections are 5, then I do 10, right?
Yeah.
Or if your inspections are 7, I do 12. Like, give yourself a week after the inspection and then start.
At least you know if it's ordered or not.
Yeah,
If there's
like-
problems.
And not necessarily, in your case, not to the lender, right? Like, you won't be in communication with them, but circling back with your agent, like,
Yeah.
hey, are we all set? Is closing scheduled? Do you blah, blah, blah?
Anything left on needed to do for
Yeah.
negotiations, so I can submit the commission tab.
Right.
Cause that would be, the appraisal would be the final thing to negotiate any
Yeah.
pricing, so.
Do
that's-
you have any like checklists and timelines to keep track of all this, of like when you do for each transaction?
So I do, but when it's only effective when I'm told of things.
Totally.
But that being said, when do you guys submit your commissions tab? Because I 100% submit commission tab after reviewing it and checking it with the commission check when I receive it on day of closing.
Oh, no, I do mine before
Oh.
then.
I do mine right after the appraisal is approved.
I do mine maybe the week before.
Kelly does all of ours,
So I do it after the appraisal.
but when I was doing the commissions tabs for my previous team, I didn't do it until the day of.
Yeah,
Um,
things can change.
just because things can change, close dates, and I wanna make sure that those close dates are accurate,
Price.
in the system. Pricing didn't usually change, but
Seller paid.
it was more of my checklist to note, this is the next step. I was
think-
confirming that things have been received by the office.
I don't wanna speak out of turn, but I think Matt asks us to do it at least 2 weeks prior to closing.
Yeah.
I still feel like that's really.
Because they use it for projecting
They project
their numbers.
projecting
And
the
so,
numbers, yep.
and also, just so you guys know, for your agents, it like hits KW International when you do that as a unit for that month, right? And it's like a pending unit as that, for that month. The
Yeah.
close date will get recorded on the sales, but then
That's why I want.
it gives them more accurate information of like, okay, I actually did pend 5 in June, and they closed out over the next few months, but it gives them a better indication on, I forget which report, multi-trends, I think, report. But that's my process. It does, every once in a while, do I have to email Matt and tell him to return it back to me? Yes, and I have to do it
Yeah.
again. But, I'd much rather, in my view, I would rather do that than be running around on the day of
Crazy.
closing, because then I can just know, like, okay, all I'm doing is waiting for the Alta, the signed settlement statement from the closing company, and then everything is buttoned up on my end.
And then you just wait, and then you just keep checking to make sure that it has
That's
come in.
Right,
You get the checks.
I'm just waiting for we're all closed, checks in the mail, and that final signed version. And then I just send it to the
Pop
front
bottles
desk.
after that.
We pop bottles after DA comes through, and then we pop bottles.
Yeah, then I have to track that.
Yeah.
But yes, so. I don't know
It's
if
hard,
Melissa
you're
has
under
something
a
different
situation.
to say.
Yeah, that's
You're-
accurate,
yeah.
ideally you do.
You're under a
report.
situation that's really hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also submit the file to the office at that same time too. So I know some people submit it like right away when they're accepted. And I wait till everything is as close to
Cause
being
you don't have to
finished up.
re-upload it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, and if there's a close date change or a price
Yeah.
change or whatever, like, I don't want Melissa to have to look at it 3-4 times. She still sometimes does have to, but like, once the appraisal's in, I sort of feel like, okay, we're as close to being final as we can be, in a traditional transaction.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do all of my command stuff and be done with it.
And then that way, the only thing she'd have to do is,
The new amendment.
it would be a new amendment for a close date change, which is not gonna hold up Matt from processing
No.
if she doesn't get to it right away. Right. Everything else is done, it's just
Yeah.
a silly little amendment for
Name change.
date change, close date change.
Well, and if there is something I'm missing, then, it's not closing day, right?
Yeah.
It's like, 2 weeks out of like, hey, I forgot to have your people initial something or whatever, and it's.
Does that help? She's like, no.
She's like, I don't know how to implement this for
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it's just there were so many moving parts, and I try to submit command right after inspection, but agents fill out their own commission tab, and I just like go in and like A-okay it when I have check in hand and then submit it. But yeah, it's interesting to hear the difference in how you guys are running yours versus what I'm attempting to do.
What you're attempting is really hard to do.
Yes.
It's really hard to only have a little part control over one step in this very big step-oriented thing. And you have 30 different people that are doing 30 different ways, so it's really hard.
Yeah, and I can't have full control like Kelly has of like scheduling inspection and all of that. Like that's just genuinely not realistic for me. And granted, I just got out of our busy season because I was also partially like working in the combine because but it still has just been like
How can we avoid some of these situations? Yeah.
so yeah, that's what we think about prior to the meeting with Jana.
The other thing I was gonna say is we do a twice weekly Zoom call. It's like maybe 10 minutes long, and it's mine, right? Like I run through all the transactions and I like update the agents where we're at and what we're missing or still needing to be done, or when I talked to them last, they were wondering about X, Y, and Z, or you know, like I'm the one who's talking during that meeting, and they're just chiming in if I have a question or whatnot. So it's like a little bit of a role reversal, I feel like, for a lot of admins. Like they're not super comfortable with that, especially right away. But like they hop on, they don't put on their cameras, and I'm like, hey everyone, like how's it going? Okay, so our first closing is next Tuesday, and I think we're all good. I've seen the CD, did the final walkthrough is scheduled. When are you gonna pick up the lockbox? Okay, great, I'm gonna write that down and put it on your calendar. You know, and then next one.
Do you
right?
always just do 1 week out, like next?
Nope,
or
I
you
do
just, like,
all
for
of
the
them.
month or all of them?
I do all of them, yep, because like, you know, yesterday, right, we had one that doesn't close till December, but they canceled, so like, I don't have an executed cancellation, where's it at? Like, you know, and sometimes I know some of those things just because,
But it's nice to hear.
you know, and it also like gives everybody on the team to know where everybody's at. And I think it allows them to learn from one another. So like, yes, I run through everything, but then at the end, like Cole might say like, you know, I had somebody who wrote on a property and then this happened like 2 weeks ago and their pre-approval was off by $100,000. And so they had to cancel before they even
This
like,
happened?
yeah, this
Oh.
happened.
Okay.
And so like, this is the lender they use,
How did it-
like, you know, be a little weary of this lender if you get offers with it.
Yeah.
You know, so like it can spiral to other things. I also do all of our marketing events, volunteering, and so then I can also like spin up on that. But I do transactions first, and then it's like, okay, we have volunteering next Thursday, we have our pie giveaway, start inviting people, like, you know, but it's my meeting. Doesn't mean that Carly doesn't talk during it or doesn't give like team updates, but it's much
Strictly
more
for
like nuts
transactions.
and bolts.
Yeah. That would probably be the most beneficial for you. Yeah. Truly.
As of right now, until you guys can get a better system of, I think it's gonna have to be more of pain points for agents, which means pain points for you.
Yeah.
Because you can't get them to experience it, to get them to realize it, they have to go through pain
Mm-hmm.
to know what's going on.
Well, I don't have one transaction paid out from 2 weeks ago because the agent won't get me the purchase agreement. Welcome to my club life.
That's also the lead agent should be setting up expectations on what is the very standard of how to be on the team too. So it can't be 100% on you because you can only go so far with it. That's where the lead agent's saying this is unacceptable.
This is our process.
This is what we have to do.
If you don't like it, then
Yeah, that's what's hard. And if you don't have an agent that's not setting up those expectations, it's almost impossible to get that information that way.
So how do you deal with an agent who doesn't sign listing docs? Because obviously, like the front desk or whoever audits there is gonna return that stuff.
Like
Like-
the agent hasn't signed it or the sellers?
The agent, even though the seller is like hard copy signing documents, and I have 4 emails out right now, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse.
I
Like,
would send it through, it's a
design.
sign.
Yeah,
I know that's not your job,
yeah.
but that's what
2
I would
clicks.
do. I would send it through sign, it'd take you 5 minutes.
Yep.
And then I would have a conversation with them, like separate, like, hey, I did this one time, because we were gonna be out of compliance. This really is not how it should work, like, blah, blah.
And
Yeah.
maybe them set up their templates in Instinet if they have not yet.
no, they're all set up through Instinet, thankfully.
And
But
so-
truly, I just let the market center flag it, and then they get an email, and it's their job from there. It's not.
That's their
If
pain
truly
point.
if that's the way you're doing yours too, then they're listing, like,
I mean, they're gonna be out of compliance,
Yeah.
right? Because the listing date's gonna,
and that's their license,
Go.
not yours.
right?
Yep.
But
That's what I have to like release control of. Like, it's their problem.
either.
No.
Well,
yeah.
and
It's so simple too.
the only thing that you can do is, say, because they're gonna get an email, if you're seeing it when you're going to do your compliance or your job, you just send them an email and say, hey, I noticed you're out of compliance. We need to get this completed, CC.
Yeah,
CC
or, I
Janice,
mean,
CC
you know,
Melissa, and
part of my
You're
job
like,
is to serve the agents, like, I think that is a big part of my job. So it's not that I wanna be crabby with them, but like, a reminder or a text or something, like, hey, the office is not gonna let this fly, let me know how I can help, right? Do you want me to send it this time through transaction desk? Would that be helpful for you today? In
Well,
the
it's not a
future, this
habit.
is not really what we do, or
Yeah.
whatever, like, maybe you can circle up after the fact, but I think trying
Sometimes it's
to
easier
find a
do it.
solution might be your best bet on this one, unless your rainmaker is telling you something different, right? Like, and your job is so different than ours that it's hard to know, like, where your lines are. Like, my lines would be like, that is a me problem,
And maybe
right?
that's your meeting, it's going, I need more defined lines on what my
Yeah.
job is, and then have those lines conveyed to the team, going, okay, here, we're resetting our expectations, like, you guys are responding, and then have it maybe very visual for them, saying, this is what expected of you, and this is what I'm gonna do for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the office can be the one to hold the line, right? Like, that's appropriate, right? If that's not where yours, if it's not in your world to fix the mistake,
Yeah.
then the office will hold it for you, and
Yeah.
all you are is the messenger.
Yeah.
Which is, I think a better place to be.
I know Melissa's told me a few times, she's like, make me be the bad guy.
Yeah,
Happy to do
yeah. She's got a witch's hat on, that's so cute.
So I know she,
I do it all the time when
use
people,
Melissa,
when
yeah.
sellers don't wanna fill out the FERPA box. I say, our broker won't let us touch it,
Yeah.
our broker
Yeah.
won't let us touch
Mm-hmm.
it. You have to do it.
All right.
What do you guys do on HHG?
Well, I've only been on HHG for 1 week, so I don't know a lot about their systems, but Nicole is sweet enough. We do use open to close clearly, because we have to, it's ridiculous. And they have lovely templates that we can always share with every single one of you, that is all of them. So she says, it's like next steps to sellers, congratulations, text, they mailing, Zoo. That's at signed listing, and then they go tips before closing email for listings is 2 weeks prior. Personal property email reminder is 1 week prior, and then she has given me literally the email. But I know you guys don't have open to close, so it's really hard to use this kind of systems, because it's not gonna just import the lovely information in there. So if you guys are ever interested in that, yeah, so same thing kind of with the buyer. I think we all kind of have the same texts or emails, kind of timelines. Yeah, what I did prior to my job, I was on a smaller team. I was on a team of 6. I did also do Gmail like templates because I could. I was getting, so we worked exclusively within Command for our CRM for everything. So my agents always knew where we're at because I built out an amazing checklist, and I would assign them tasks if they have, and then due dates there. So then they would get like the taskbar area would show where they're at. And if they ever have questions like, oh, did she install the sign? Or, oh, did she send the email? They can already see that I've checked it off. So that communication part was very key and what I loved about Command, because I could get the agent involved without reaching out to them all the time and without them going, well, did she really do this? Or because most of the time we don't copy the agents in because they just don't need to see it. So I did a lot of stuff in Command. I also did, campaigns, all that kind of stuff in Command for, follow up for normal stuff like reviews. They would always get on smart plans and all that kind of stuff. I didn't have what they had here at HHD. That was the next step for, I don't remember what it's called in Command. I think it was like client care, or so like a little area where you can set up videos and it'll automatically get sent to your clients, and they'll be like, and I wanted our
Is it
agents.
BombBomb?
No, it's within Command.
Interesting.
So you can set up, like, I wanted our agents to set up videos like, hey, you've reached past the inspection point, like, blah, 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 and that was my next step before I was let go. So that's where I was at, but then other than that, we were smaller, so it was all Gmail, and it was all, like, Word docs, and then, with the DeRoches, like, that was, again, all Word docs. They were just, I think, starting to get into some CRM, but they didn't have a CRM when I was there. It was all just old school, so calendars is just the way you guys work too. So I'm excited because I love open to close. I was like, dang girl, this looks nice. Because it is so nice. So
Yeah, that's Nicole's.
I mean, though, for
That's her
real,
baby.
she could not do her job without it, because you
No.
know how much of a pain it is. Yeah, so
It's,
I would say, I know you guys are like, oh, we're so little, we don't need to yet, but that's when you should be doing it, because it's a beast, I imagine, to set up this open to close and really think through these processes. And right now it's palatable and it's manageable because you are only a smaller group. You're like, okay, this is what I need. And then when you get bigger and bigger, you can just add on to it. So that would be my 2 cents, because you don't want to wait until you're past the point of going, oh crap, we should have really done that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, you don't want to wait till you're too big,
Yes.
because then it is a pain point
Yeah.
to implement.
So our 2 things, like I said, was Command, and they had all of our checklists in it, which I loved, because then the agents knew where we're at. And then I tracked all of our numbers and information and all that through CTE, which I love very, very much. I wish I had a little more traction with the agents. I know the struggle's real working with agents, doing anything clerical is like hell on earth for them. But that's when I would be going into those weekly meetings, because we had 2 a week. So there was one, like our major one, and then Thursday was kind of like, hey, what's going on over the weekend? And that's where I'd say, here's what I have, what's going on, what am I missing? Because they didn't want to get me involved until I really had to be. And that seemed to be pretty good, of me not trying to fish in Event Assign or me trying to fish in their calendars, because that's just such a time suck. Yeah, so pretty much the same. Yeah, don't know how they work yet. I know they work a lot in Google Sheets, which is cool, but like I said, those are the expectations that have to be set up right away. And they have to be very clear and concise for your agents, so then they understand, like with HHE, they don't have an option. Like, you have to do it this way. We have too much going on. Like, if you want to be safe, you need to follow the systems. With you guys, you're just a little smaller, so it can be a little more organic.
I will say weekly numbers is not an option. That they do every week.
Yeah,
without-
that should be
without
something
any
that is
question.
non-negotiable.
I built that Google, like they fill out a Google form.
And they're receptive of it.
Yep, I mean, I remind them every week.
Yeah.
But like,
Yes.
yes, that's definitely an expectation.
Yeah.
But, right, like, as you're saying, the agent needs to be on that.
Yeah.
Needs to also feel that
Yeah.
way, right? But,
Yeah.
and a lot of it is just explaining the benefit, like the cost. If you don't do your numbers, I can't tell you any of your conversion rates.
Yeah.
So like,
What's
when
the
you
point of
come
doing
and
this?
ask
Yeah.
me, like, oh, shoot, I have so many people under contract and nobody's purchasing. Well, I have no numbers to talk to you about
And see a pattern.
and be able to like pinpoint where the coaching needs to
Yeah.
happen
Exactly.
if you aren't doing your numbers. So.
I love numbers.
And that's what a lot of the templates that that's what a lot of the templates that we utilize in the conversations that we do helps the agents realize, hey, there's a reason why we do
Yeah,
these
we're not
things.
just being mean.
We're not just making you do these pass the baton things
Yeah.
and Google Forms to suck your time out of your life,
Yeah.
you know, or getting that away from your clients. We need this information to help you
Yeah.
later on with everything else.
Well, and I don't know how you set goals around pending units to actual activities if you don't have
You're just shooting in the
that
dark.
data, right? So like,
Yeah, every
and everybody's rates are
MREA.
different,
Yeah.
right?
and any MR, that
Any
thing, that book,
MEREA.
that book will tell you, you need to know your numbers.
Yeah.
You need to know your 4 numbers. Any coach that you have with maps, any real estate coach is gonna ask you about your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, they're gonna say, okay, you have to have your numbers or you can't be on this call.
Yeah, you're gonna be set up for failure.
They will charge you for the call that you can't be on because you don't have your numbers.
That's awesome.
So we've got a few minutes left. I think that'll be just a quick recap of what do you have to touch to prepare for the upcoming year? What things do you need to change over? What's your list?
All the things.
I can go first.
It's all gonna happen after this week.
So, yeah, I know with HHG, they have an admin masterminds that we do, and we actually take days away. So we're gonna take 2 days and we go to either like a cabin or a lake, and this is just a way for us to, one, build camaraderie and just feel more as one and on the team, but then we'll just be going literally audit through their systems. Now, haven't been on for that much. So my past experience, I love auditing, it's my jam. I know with HHG, we'll be updating their CRM. We're gonna be updating the way we go through their numbers and how we handle that. I'm gonna be updating a lot with them. So it's hard to pinpoint all the things that we'll be doing. But my past experience, I would always, of course, because I had a lot of control like you, so I knew what was going on. I would take a look and say, okay, where could we improve? What can we improve? And how? And then I'll go to the specific agent saying, what did you struggle with this year? How can I make your life easier? What do you need from me? What from that point? So, and that was usually done in, I'd say if I could get it in October, I'd prefer it. I would kind of set up the expectations with everybody I had. We'd go through and say, okay, here's what we're doing. If this is not done or we're, starting to work on by February 1st, it's not gonna happen this year. Like it's just, after that, it's just too much. So my busy time really was from November to February because I was updating all the systems every time. And it wasn't just one, it was every single system I would audit. I don't care what one it was, I would audit it to try to make it better. And I usually found stuff.
Yeah, Chad we have individual meetings of like the different things, like he'll meet with Ryan for what Ryan wants to do, he'll meet with me for what I wanna do, and then we do our team kickoff at the beginning of the year, right at the beginning of the year, usually the first Wednesday of the month. And then we kind of go over, recap from last year, what worked, what didn't work, what were you planning to do for this year, how we're gonna achieve that this year.
Have you found that to be too late, or you're like, no, it works out fine for us? Because if they're like, well, we need to fix this, do you have enough time to like figure that out?
No, I think we have enough time. I think we have enough time because Chad has enough time to be able to, okay, these are the goals that you guys gave me. He incorporates that into the team ones, so that he knows where to be at for the team. And then we go over that right at the beginning of the year to say, hey, this is what we're doing. Because we've already talked about it, so we already have these goals in mind.
Got it. Systems wise though, do you do stuff?
I do the systems. So I'm always checking, I have a CTE spreadsheet that I built myself. I have to update that, making sure that, it's 2024 transactions, not 2023, it's 2024 appointments. It's, 2024 submitting your numbers. I'm updating my folders in OneDrive as well as Google to say, just 2024 events, 2024 buyers, listings, things like that, so that when I'm moving things over, it's easy.
Do you ever add new systems at this point? Like, you're like, okay, like your whole thing with like the Word doc to your Gmail, you're like, okay, something's gotta give.
Yeah, I'll just do that on my own, because that's not anything to do with the agents. I'll just update that into templates and then I'll just start implementing that use a bit more. Otherwise, the other systems, it's more of, you know, I have to train them, just be like, hey, here's the situation, here's why we're changing it.
Yeah.
Here's what I've come up with, what are your
And
thoughts?
you do that as like, just as it comes in, you're like, hey, like, I was looking into rate my agent, cause I was like, this is stupid, I'm so sick of this, and what, you know, and I was like, well, this is a fall project, I'll look into this and all that.
Yeah, I look at it as it comes up. If things aren't working, and then it's like, okay, here's what we've come up with.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Cool.
Let's go. Anybody else got anything for what they do for to transition to the next year?
I think like what you're saying, Farina, is you do all the agent-centric things in time for 2024 to like kick off and for them to set their goals and that sort of thing. And I think you're more fluid on like when you're doing your systems sort of like reviews, which sounds like you do that all at the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And I think I probably like align more with Karina on that. And not that I'm not trying to get them ready for 2024, but I'm just doing it like as my calendar allows, you know, and as the workflow sort of goes. So like I've already done our buyer and seller booklets, all those are updated. The agents spreadsheets are all updated, and like the Google Forms are updated for them to submit numbers and that sort of thing. But like, you know, I did the listing process in June because like we had listings and I felt like I was missing something along the way. So, you know, I think it's more ad hoc than
An audit.
yeah. And I think like I'm doing a very specific audit when I'm doing it, but it's not necessarily like this time of year every year.
And I notice it when it's there's a pain point.
Yeah.
That's when I'm touching it because I want to touch it once and get it done. I'm not waiting until, you know, October, November to do that. Because I'm not usually experiencing a pain point unless I am, and then I'll run and do it.
Yeah.
I think it just more happens when there's a pain point.
Yeah.
Whether it's for me or for the agent or for the client, that it's go.
Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely will do that as well. It was just,
I'd like to get to that point.
I
to be
did
able to do
everything,
that.
like, and I think you do almost everything too. I literally did everything for them too. Like literally, so you're just looking to go, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Like, do you wanna get paid?
Right,
Or do you want a really cool new system that'll work faster, stronger, like, yeah. But I would
Well, I
definitely be noting those at those times. Like, if it was something like adding a checklist or like adding an item, like those easy ones, that's fine. But if it's like, hey, we need a new way we get leads, or hey, we need like, you know, a whole new CRM, or hey, we need to build out a website, you know, like these really big things, like those are
way down the line.
and like smart plans, really, really, really mindful smart plans and how we organically talk to our clients was huge for us, not these huge, you know, big things, like truly organic smart plans. We're always looked at every year. I love them, now that they're working somewhat properly.
You're gonna be the next person that we talk to when it
Yeah.
comes to smart plans.
I love smart
Command.
plans. I love the like I'm a command girl. I love it. I think I started from the beginning, but it's almost there. It's almost there. For a larger team, I can understand why they haven't integrated. It's just it was not set up for teams. It just wasn't. It just I don't know who was in charge, but they did not set it up for teams.
Well, I think that was the initial thought, was that it was agents first. But then, you know, they sort of shifted directions and then we just inherited what was there.
Brayden, what have you got for your 2024? Do you do anything with that, or is that just?
It's like,
Oh my gosh, Brayden!
I don't do anything with
right now,
Friday.
it's
What do you think I'm
hilarious.
doing 2024?
We go to a happy hour and are happy that you
She's
made
like,
it
Jesus,
through.
take the wheel.
Oh, Brayden, the look on your face
I know,
is
it's
just
so
priceless.
cute.
It's so
cute.
hilarious.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, that says it all.
Enough said.
Yep, no,
Gotcha.
nothing else has to be said after that.
thanks.
Yep,
Cheers.
cheers, cheers. Cheers.
Well, I do have some stuff from Teapot that I'll put in the recap when we get the recording from Jason.
Let me know if you guys want these.
Yeah, you wanted to
I'll let
reply to
people,
the
yeah.
email.
Yeah, just,
Like
Then
I
you
said,
can
they're
put it on
gonna be very,
I feel like
OTC.
3 years ago, we like all shared ours and then I like built new ones from like everybody's.
yeah,
but-
no, that's a
So like
support.
that would be
Yeah.
a good,
But that's
you know,
what
like
they're for.
recap,
That's what
especially for people who don't have them
Yeah.
necessarily all set up.
Yeah, there's a lot in the Teapot ones. Like I said, it goes from
Yeah.
it talks about listing managing stuff, transactions, it talks a little bit about like asking for reviews and referrals. I mean, there's tons of different stuff in there. I think there's like, oh yeah, there's tons of pages, so. Have fun.
Mhm.
And then also, like I said, I'll set up polls so that we can talk about what next to do for December, because I really want y'all's input. I don't wanna make decisions on what we do and then not everybody be like, I don't wanna do this.
I'll be at
I know you'll be at home
Did you
snuggling a
do
baby.
Monday.
Monday? You look good for Monday.
No.
I went like
Yes.
a month early and I was ridiculous.
Oh.
My coworkers looked at me like, oh God.
Just somebody
Kelly's
yesterday
ready.
came in our office, like, you look uncomfortable. I was like,
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yeah, I do.
But we will miss
This
you,
is
but
my fourth baby and I am,
Oh, you're no pro.
well, and I'm an older mother.
Yeah.
So I am ready.
well, you
Yes.
can definitely send us lots of pictures of you snuggling
Yes, I
babies,
will
so
do
we'll
that.
be happy to have that.
Yeah, that's right. Send you the crying ones.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. We'll recap with an email and then we'll go from there. Otherwise, I won't see you guys for Thanksgiving and then I'll see you guys again in December for your party. So have fun with your pies, everyone.
Thanks for all you do.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you,
Yes,
Karina.
Coming
thank
to
you.
give you guys a little gratitude, trick or treat. Here you go.
Thank you.
Happy Halloween.
Hi guys.
Thank you.
I
Look
have
how
the
cute it
same
is.
sweater,
Do
just
you?
a little different color.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it has the same bright pink.
Yeah.
Thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
Karina, you do so much.
That is,
true.
I think it's full.
Try.
You really should
Oh,
feel
well,
proud
the
about
green's
that.
my favorite color, so, yeah.
It's not on your accomplishments.
Oh, thanks for all your
I don't know if you do,
contributions.
I do that like every year, I like write down all the things I'm proud of.
Yeah, I'm very proud of this group. I'd like to see it even more, but and that's why I'm in the KW Ops community, because I wanna grow this even more for everybody, and
You do a good
admins
job.
are important,
Yeah,
so they are
the backbone.
the lifeblood
Yeah.
of the team,
Yeah.
so.
I would see a lot of value even for agents that are trying to figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
Just listen in the back. You guys have so many good resourceful tips.
Yeah, it just, if it's something that they're able to do, you know, if they're saying, oh, well, do I need to do this to, you know, be successful with running my TC stuff and the marketing and all that kind of stuff, and then they can help them realize, maybe I do need an admin. Maybe I do need somebody to do this. Maybe I do need to hire Jenny for all my transaction stuff. So
It's a lot.
it can be a lot, and hopefully it helps agents realize, yeah, I need an admin.
Thanks, ladies.
Thanks, Melissa.
You can do it without, it's just not gonna be as good, and it's not gonna be as professional, and
It's, well, are you're
Yeah,
gonna spend
not-
more time doing the
you're
things
not
that you
gonna
don't
get your
wanna do.
sales, yeah.
Well,
No,
I mean,
I-
you have to get to that point.
You do, like,
And
yes.
like, there's a reason also we're not agents, right? Like, those are two different personalities.
you're making me get my license. I'm like, I've been in this industry for 10 years, I managed to do it without it, but they're making me, whatever. I'm fine with it.
It's.
Karina's license, I haven't unless I
I'm so you.
really need it.
Yeah,
I have my license, and it's been very helpful to do, because I can send documents.
I can send documents without
I can too.
that. You don't need documents, or license to send documents.
Oh, she is, huh?
Yeah.
You're working underneath.
You can't negotiate, that's about it.
Yeah.
You can't
Can't negotiate, you can't talk about. you can't really
pricing or
talk
anything
about
like that.
pricing
No,
or-
but then you just say,
motivation.
reach out to your agent, but everything else you can open up doors. You can do anything.
I didn't know you could open up doors.
Yep, you just say, I'm here to open up the door, you just coach them, I can't help
do
you
the
with
background
anything.
check with the association.
Yep, and then you just kind of go, I can take your
I don't-
questions and pass them along,